Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Horse Racing today with myself, HRT Rich, and we have charming Charles Trent on this trifecta Thursday at Aqueduct. How are you, Charles?
Doing good. Doing good. A little overcast here now in Kentucky, but all good here.
Oh, good. All right. Hopefully, how you feeling about the Aqueduct card today?
I kind of like it a little bit. I think you can make a little money, but you got to be. There's not a sure thing on any race, but there's some nice picks in here.
Well, is there ever a sure thing? I mean, I guess at times you feel like there's a sure thing.
Yeah.
Doesn't always necessarily work out that way, but at times it does feel that way.
Uh-huh.
I'll give you that. One thing I can tell you, sure thing is free is a good thing, right? Or would you disagree with that?
Free is an excellent thing.
And the free picks today, and I think we're going to do pretty good today. A guaranteed tip sheet down in the description below. There's a link. Woodbine today up in Toronto A, where they have some racing. Number 3, Just Follow Me, a best bet in the opener there. They start at 5:40 p.m. Eastern time. So if you're thinking about something to do at 5:40 p.m. Eastern, remember, there's a link in the description below. Free picks over a guaranteed tip sheet, as there are every day. So just use that link there and check out the free track of the day. Maybe you might win a few bucks with next Friday. What, next Friday is Black Friday, right?
Yeah, next Friday is Black Friday. Jeez.
Hard to believe how fast all that goes by, man. We're
Very
2023 almost in the rearview mirror. I remember as a little kid, Charles, I get a little off here, but I remember it, well, maybe not as a little kid, but as a teenager, when I thought about like the year 2000, I was like, man, am I going to be old at 2000?
Yeah, that is true. I remember those two.
Little did I know. All right, well, let's see what we do know today about race number 1 at Aqueduct, Charles. Track's fast, turf's firm, by the way.
All right, we got a 1 mile. It's for maidens. Purse is 85,000. This is for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up.
1 mile in the New York dirt, Charles. The profile of that winner, forgive me, we got a few of these races today. Profile of that winner does have early speed 31% of the time. Charles, not only do they have early speed, but they take the lead and they never give it up. Get a little bit of a rail bonus, allegedly. Anyway, might take advantage of that. 2 and 3 get penalized. 4 through 7, a little tiny bonus. And if you happen to wear the 8 or out, you get a big bonus. Unfortunately, there's no 8 or out. There's only 5 horses in the first race. Charles, we do 1,000 simulations looking for simulation odds. We want our projected odds. We want the post-time odds to be higher than our projected odds, so we get value. Par plus, we measure how many times the horse runs a speed figure in our 1,000 simulations above the average winning speed figure for the conditions. We also measure speed to see who's going to be on the lead, what % chance they have to pull the cart. And then based upon how fast the race is projected to go, which horses are likely to feel the most comfortable in here. Charles, looks like there's plenty of speed out of these 5 horses.
Yeah, especially for a mile contest. There's plenty of speed in here. You have right now the 2 at 39% chance, but look out for the 5 and the 3 also, a 28 and 24% chance. So it's really who breaks the best and goes, because we got don't we have a 4-horse field? No, 5-horse field here.
5 horse, yes. And according to Scott Fiedler, who wins tons of money in those horse racing tournaments, and these 5-horse fields, if you're playing tournaments, and even if you're betting, I guess, says they always play the longest priced horse.
It probably is. Odds-wise, I guess it would help you out that way. The 3, look at the simulation odds there, 7-1 and 12-1 morning line. So there's your overlay right there. The 5, a little bit of an overlay. You got, what was that? 1-2.
1 to 5. Yeah.
Yeah. And you got slightly over even money on the morning line. So,
and right now he's 4 to 5 to 1. So despite the fact, so you might look at that on paper and say, well, wait a minute. Morning line was 7 to 5. He's 4 to 5 now, but according to the sim odds, could be as low as 1 to 5. So you're still getting value there, maybe. And it does have the strongest par plus, so a 35% chance that horse will run a speed figure above par, the only one in the field. Of course, the C zone there favors that 2-horse pretty aggressively there, Charles. We also do pace handicapping here. You can see the 2-horse grading out as a lone E, wants to be on the lead. EPs, compilot or co-pilot. Your Ps are co-pilots. PCs are like your what do they call them now? Flight attendants. I always want to call them stewardess. Anyway, your flight attendants can be anywhere on the plane. C are your closers. The NC types have not been within 5 lengths of the leader at the finish line. And of course, your first time starters here. Looking at early speed in this race, Charles, if you're looking at the pace setup, that 5 horse, the pressure horse, might get a little bit of pressure on that too, though the 2 could take the lead. Really, any of them can, except for probably the 4. On the way home, it does look like the 3 horse, Touche, has the most late speed, about 6 points better than the next closest horse, and really won't be all that far off the lead here, Charles. Probably a good shot to be a contender today. And then our total pace does figure the 3 horse as the top horse, 4 points better than the 5. So according to this, the 3 should sit right off maybe third, and then at the end run by and win this race by about 3/4 of a horse. Charles, what do you think?
Yeah, this was a very tough race to handicap myself, but I ended up with the 2 on top. I think this horse has just the right amount of speed, has that tactical speed. So I think this one will be sitting second or third. Plus, they add the blinkers today, so they're going to get a little bit more out of this horse. It's going to be more focused. And guess who's aboard? IRAD.
And he will not let you pass him in the lane.
No, so look out.
Even
there.
if you're 6 horses to the left, he's going to
make sure go there and knock you out.
Yes, you will be minus a half horse by the time you get to the final.
And don't worry, and IRAD's horse will not come down. The 4 is
not
my
in New York.
Not in New York. The 4 is my second choice here. Tries dirt today, cuts back and distance. Trainer gets 17% with their second race. And then the 5 is my third choice here. This horse ran second last 3 times. So bridesmaid a couple of times there. And well bet last time out. Has a good closing kick, cuts back today. Look out for that horse. And then the 1 is going much longer today. Trainer gets 22% when he takes him to a route the first time.
You're going to do your pick 5 right there. I can see. I'm going to go real quick on my picks because the race is about to start there. I have the 5 horse. Our good friend Chris Parmalou says when a horse finishes second in the prior race is a maiden. That's a Chris Parmalou angle. Plus, it had the top last race speed figure 5 points clear of anybody else. Either it has to come down or the others have to come up. And then the 2, 3, and 4, the 3 horse Touche, we talked about the way that one can win, but if she can run back to 2 races ago at Saratoga, she is the winner and probably easily so. Number 4, African Waters. Any improvement from her debut would be enough to be competitive and possibly win. And then finally 2, Dreaming of Mo. Showed a lot more early speed in its last race there, Mr. Charles. Has a bullet workout sense, so a horse that should be sharp. Maybe start off Charles's pick 5 with his top pick on top. No bets for me in a 5-horse field unless you want to put $2 to win on the longest shot on the board. And that is the 3 horse there, Mr. Charles.
Yeah, and I'm swinging for the fences. The first couple of legs here. Top 3 picks in this first leg. Second leg, same thing. The third leg, a single. The fourth leg, I'm going with my top 2 picks, 1 and 1A. Of course, you get 2 for 1 and the 2. And then I'll take my top 3 picks in the final 5th leg.
Should they call that a BOGO horse? You buy one, you get one?
Yeah, I think it's BOGO.
Mm-hmm. We'll call that a BOGO horse from now on.
And actually,
having a little bit of difficulty getting that 4 horse, folks. Something we learned from Larry Ravelli. Keep an eye on the hands behind the gates. If they're holding that 4's tail to keep it calm, and right now it doesn't look like they are. But when they hold the horse's tail behind the gate, Larry Ravelli said he'd never seen a horse get off to a good start. And since he brought that up to us, we watch. And I have to say, every single time I've seen him hold a horse's tail before the race starts, guess what, Charles?
They get off to a poor start.
Yeah, never.
Yeah, that's always, I've noticed that in my years too. I just never put a lot of thought into it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I mean, he brought it up, and that's the great thing about the shows that we do with the guests that we get on Horse Center. We learn so much just about, like you mentioned, things that you might have intuitively seen and not really realize what you were seeing. And then, the folks who to pay attention to that stuff because that's their bread and butter. All right, so early on, you have the 2 horse Dreaming of Mo as your pace setter, as we thought, although the 1 horse in there allegedly decided it wants the lead. I guess the 2 didn't really want to run all that fast. Opening quarter in 23 and 62, so maybe a little bit on the swifter side. The heavy favorite, the 5 horse, is going to be forced to run 3 wide all the way around the track, Charles, which could put it in a tough spot. The 3 horse, that closer there, Charles, didn't sit third. He's all the way in the back. The front 4 are kind of hustling along a little bit, so maybe he'll have a little bit of pace to close into at the end. The 1 horse continues to be the pace setter. On the outside, the 5 horse is ranged up to challenge the 1. The 2 looks like it's done for the day. The only other horse right now that looks like it's making a move forward is the 4. Otherwise, the 1 and the 2 are backing up. So it looks like this race is going to go 5-4, and then it's a question of who's going to finish in third. Can the 4 horse might make a statement in here and take the win here, Charles? I think from your standpoint, you probably want that. Right now, it does look like the 3 is moving the best, but it does have a lot of ground to make up. It's going to go 5, I think 4, and then 3, and then maybe 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, maybe 5, and an easy winner. 4, 3, 2. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in reverse order. Charles, how about that?
Yeah.
And that 5 horse, as we mentioned, it was at 2-5 or 1-5 was fair value on that guy. And it ended up going off at 4-5. And we've had a couple of inquiries. Real quick, Charles, I want to talk about this for a second. We had a couple of inquiries. Where else can I get this data? And if you watch either live or later on, you watch a re-recording, if you're interested in us bringing this data out to all tracks, if you could just hit us up in the comment section, let us know on Facebook in the DMs and Twitter. We'd greatly appreciate that. It would be helpful. All right, so you still had some value. Peristyle with a shot to go over par was close to the lead the whole way around the track. That worked out just like the data said it would work out. Charles, let's talk about race number 2 and how that one might work out.
Yeah, race number 2, we have a 6 furlongs. This is for a claiming price of $30,000. Non-winners of 2 lifetime. Purse is $41,000. This is for 3-year-olds and upward, which have never won 2 races.
And the kind of horses that win 6 furlong races, Charles, at Aqueduct have stalking ability, right? They want to sit second, third, fourth in that pressure position or co-pilot, if you will. There is a rail penalty, so face a barrio. Might have to work a little extra hard today. 2 and 3 get a bit of a bonus. 4 and 7, 4, 5, 6, and 7, a little bit of a penalty. And then 8 and out, they get a major bonus, Charles. So if you're sitting on the outside in race number 2 with a little bit of tactical speed, you're probably in a good spot, although it looks like the fastest of the fast is out there.
Yeah, the 7. And a 39% chance of getting that lead. It probably does have a chance, but I would say look out for the 3. The 3 has a lot of speed too. And that's got a 27% chance of getting the lead. Simulation odds, we have the 5 at 2-1, and the morning line is 3.5-1, so not too bad of an overlay. And then that 8, we have just slightly under 2-1, and we have 4.5-1 morning line. So there's a little overlay also.
And looking at the par plus horses, you got the 5 and the 8, those 2 with the best chance to score a speed figure today. That would be better or on par with your average winner under the conditions, and a whole ton of them should be pretty pleased with the way this race sets up in terms of its pace. Our pace handicapping sheet shows us, look at that. Everybody wants to be on the lead, brother, except for the 5 horse. So just from a strategy standpoint, the 5 horse should be the best positioned in this race. Early speed, you want the speed of the speed when everybody wants to be on the front. And look at those 3 horses right there. So I think the 7 and the 1, 7's going to really have to kind of rush to get out because everybody's kind of close to one another in there. So I could see the 7 really hitting the gas to come out. Although it shows if he does hit the gas, that late pace just won't be there. That belongs to the 8 horse playing with matches. Not a good idea, but should be like right there in the mix too, Charles. As far as your total pace horses are concerned, you have the 8 and the 5, about 4 points better than everybody else. So if this plays to form, they should be very much nose to nose at the wire, about 3/4 of a length ahead of the pack there, Charles. How do you got it?
I have that 5. That 5's got some good tactical speed, as you just shown on that chart. Good closing, could stay up really close. Ran third the last time out. Cuts back in distance today and gets Franco. So look out there. The 1, has some tactical speed, but I think we're going to see a little bit more speed out of this horse. He ran second last time out because today this horse is going to get a 5-pound allowance. So a little weight break there, and that can mean a lot in this race because there's tons of speed in here. And then that 8 drops in class today. It does have some tactical, but more on the closing side of speed. Second start after a layoff. Rice gets 18% with that angle, so look out for that horse. And then I think the other speed horse will be the 3. Has ran second last time out. You got a hot trainer last 14 days there, but yeah, I think it's between the 1 and the 5 personally.
I was thinking about doing my pick 4 with the single on the 5 on the first leg to make a pick 5, but I voted against it, regretting it now. Hope that, because I have another single in mind too. But I like the 3 horse in here, Charles, as the top pick. 3-0, as you mentioned. This horse is going to probably be your pace setter. And last time out, the horse held its speed longer. So you saw on the past performances, it carried the 1 or the 2 farther across from left to right, and then has a decent workout between races. So stamina should not be an issue at the end. Mudville 9, that 5 horse is likely to be better in your favorite handicapping, Charles. It's your angle, which is
third start after a layoff.
Yes, and another handicapping angle from here, Charles, too, because it's cutting back in distance.
Oh yeah, like that.
Number 1, Face Abario did run the top last race, speed figure 3 points clear of everybody else. We just saw the 5. That was 5 points clear, according to Andrew Beyer. When you're looking through the past performances and you see a horse's speed figure is 3 points or more higher than the next closest one, horse you have to circle. This is another one that held its speed longer, but I feel like the rail is a little bit of a penalty for that guy. And then finally, we both like that playing with matches towards the back end. This one's running its lowest level in its last 10 races, and its last race is a little bit better than it looked because the fractions were marginally quicker. I'm going to do a pick 4. I'm going to leave that 8 out, maybe regretfully, with the 1, 3, 5, and then a single to 5 in the next leg with the 1, 2, going skinny in the middle, and then 2, 8, 10, and 11, hoping to maybe catch a price on the back end in a hot dog. Pick 4. I think that one costs, what is that one, like $12, something like that, Charles?
It looks like it.
Yeah, that was race number 2, by the way, folks. Sorry about that. I got to put that in the right place right there, right? All right, so now we got to put the right thing coming up for the next race, Charles. That one, my friend, is race number 3. And what are we running for here?
1 mile maiden per 70,000 for fillies, 2-year-olds. Oh, great. Here we go. Fillies, huh? 2-year-olds.
State bred at that.
And they're all state bred. So there you go.
Yeah, so 2-year-olds that can.
There is one thing about this mile that a lot of people don't see at other tracks is the 1-turn mile.
I knew where you were going. So they have 1 turn.
It's a big difference than a 2-turn mile.
And the difference is?
It's easier for horses, especially young ones, to get used to going that distance because they're still going 1 turn. And so they could take their speed into that 1 turn.
So, yeah, when you're doing 1-turn miles, and this is something that you hear like when you first get into horse racing, you hear 1, 2 turns, and it might be a bit confusing, but and knowing which tracks are 1 turn and 2 turns are also kind of fun too at times, especially if they don't have the diagram here. So essentially these act more like sprints than they do routes because of that 1 turn. So speed does hold a little bit better. And we saw that in the opener there. That's why 31% of the time so far at Aqueduct at a mile, they have gone wire to wire. Rail bonus for Miss Bourbon. That's what's in Charles's cup right there that you see him drinking from. 2, 3, you get a little bit of a penalty. 4 through 7 is a small bonus. And then if you get the 8 or out, Charles, a big time bonus for race number 3. Let's take a look at the data. Doesn't get it. There are 8 horses, but 1 scratch. So that makes 7. So we don't get a post position 8, but we do get a lot of horses with some speed in here.
Yes, that 2 at 29% chance of getting the lead at the quarter pole, probably most likely. The 5 does have some speed, but most likely probably pushing this horse. So I'm gonna say the 2 will be out in front at the quarter pole, just like the chart says here. Simulation odds, the 1 we have it just slightly over 3 to 1, and we have morning line of 6 to 1. So that's a nice little overlay. And then we have the 5 at just slightly over even money and a 3 to 1 morning line.
And that 5 too, Charles, with all of them in here, except for perhaps the 3 horse, and the 7 horse, they've shown that they do have the ability to win at this level, probably even higher, I would guess, Charles. C-zone wise, really could be an uncomfortable pace for all of them. Maybe a little bit too fast, a little bit too slow for their liking. We'll find out as the race goes. Let's find out how the shape looks. Look at this, Charles. 1, 3, 5, 6, and 7. None of them have been within 5 lengths in their limited experiences of the winner. The 2 horse, Saving Memories, has been a PC type, so it's showing a little bit of early speed, showing the ability to maybe come off the pace a bit. The 8's been your closer. A lot of times, horses that win these type of races, Charles, they get up front, they stay up front. If that's the case, you got the 6 and the 2, Saving Memories. Scarlet's Dream. If you look here, Charles, I mean, the all could be right there. So I expect the winner will be close to the front. It looks like the money grab. It does have a little bit of a late speed advantage over the rest of them. So if that one gets a clean trip, could use those late legs to get home. And then as far as your top total pace is concerned, the 1, the 2, the 5, and the 8, a little bit better than the rest of the field. So maybe you box those for an exacta and trifecta, and you possibly find your winner there. What say you?
Well, I really like the 5 here, and on my pick 5, I did single out the 5. On here in this bet, I did a little different on my bets because it does have an apprentice aboard the 5, so that's my only worry on this 5.
What's his win rate on there? Let's see. How's that apprentice been doing?
Yeah,
so far?
I don't remember now. To be honest,
yeah, about 9%. So not the best, but not the worst either, right?
Yeah, but look at his whole year, though. His year to date. Well, yeah.
Well, what's good here, I guess, here, Charles, if you look at the year to date, well, he's winning at 14%, so a little bit better. So maybe he's a little cold streak there, or maybe just a competition in New York.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that can give you a little bit of encouragement here is if you look at the P types, the pressure types, he does have a 16% win rate, which is one of his highest ones, and he does do better at routes. So I think maybe this might be the right place for him. But anyway, go ahead.
So if it wasn't for, honestly, the 5, him being a little bit more of a rookie, it would be my best bet. Well, it is my best bet of the day, but it would be like a huge best bet of the day.
Like a 5-star type?
Yeah, 5-star. Go, like just go to the bank and go ahead and put the money back in. You know, that's how much money you want. That type of bet.
Yeah, right. That's the kind of money that gets you all sorts of problems.
Why not? Come on. Okay, so the 5 is my top choice. Ran second last time out. Ran even last time out, and does have that tactical speed as the chart shown that it could be really versatile there. So let's see how that turns out. The 3 is my second choice here. Rice gets 27% when she takes them from turf to dirt, and she gets 21% with her second race in a route. So a lot of good positive things with that 3. And of course, that 3 is totally bred for this. And then the 1, well, the rail gets 19%. So the trainer gets 13% when he takes them from sprint to route.
Add them together, you get 32.
That's right. I said hike. And and if this horse ran even last time out, so look out. And then the 6 is my final choice here. A little bit of a price horse. Trainer gets 21% first time on the routes. Ran even last time out, and Davis is aboard. So Davis is one of those. This horse could be flying at the end, so look out.
I have the 5 horse too, Charles. I singled them in my pick 4. And Money Grub, in the opener, we saw the 5 horse had a top last race speed figure that was 5 points clear of everybody else. Money Grab, its number 6 points clear of everybody else, and does have an opportunity to take that number even higher, create a bigger spread in the second start after a layoff. Miss Bourbon, Scarlet's Dream, and Saving Memories. They're all basically the same story for me. They're all making their second starts right here. And if any of them improve off the first start, because that's the place where you'll see the biggest improvement a lot of times. So when you're looking through horses in the maiden ranks, and one has a 1 race in it, and maybe it was an race, don't be afraid to add those at your price, because a lot of times they pop into there at a big price because that the gains that they make in confidence from race 1 to race 2, you can find a lot of high-priced winners in there. Same story for me on the 162. All horses looking to make improvement in their second starts.
And you know why there? I'm sorry to interrupt you there a little bit. It's most of the time those horses. That's why I put down they run even. If they run even, they're getting dirt kicked in their face. They're getting bumped. You know, they see a lot of things. They hear yelling from the jockeys. So they learn a lot, those horses. And you cannot teach the actual race thing until race day. And
Right.
so that's why they improve most of the time the second time out.
Yeah, and if you look through the past performances, you'll see a horse. Just for an example, out of the top of my head. Hey, Melvin, how you doing today, my man? Good to see you again. Here's pick 4: 1 3 1 3 5 1 5 1 2 3 11. So if you look at if you just look through the past performances, you'll see it over and over and over again. You'll see a horse that runs, say, a 64 speed figure in its opening race. You know, ran like you said, maybe started 5th, ended 4th, gained maybe a length in the course of the race. And you say, that horse looks like crap. And then the next time out, it goes from 64 to 89 on the speed figure, gets closer to the lead, and then wins at like 12-1. And you're like, how come I didn't see that? Just keep an eye out on that, folks. And especially if you see any inclination, like the trainer has like an above 11 or 12% second time out win rate, or you see a little bit better or improved workouts on the bottom, or maybe just a couple of maintenance workouts that just regular speed in there, because you know the trainer wants to keep it fit because he thinks the horse has a shot. Anyway, enough about the soapbox in there, Charles. What are we doing in race 4?
Race 4. Once again, another mile race. This is for a claiming price of $35,000. Purse is $45,000. This is for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, which have never won 3 races, or 3-year-old fillies.
Okay. I looking at mile. We talked about a mile a few times today, Charles. We saw in the opener. We'll see 3 out of the first 4 races are going to be a mile. Early speed does win because, as we talked about last time out, you got that 1-turn mile right there. You do get a rail bonus. So I don't think this one's not on the rail. It's going to be the 2-horse that's on the rail today. That's Jolly Miss Jill on the rail with Kendrick. Gets a little bit of a bonus. 2 for 3, get a little bit of penalty. 4 through 7, get a small bonus. 8 and out. Charles, once again, gets the big money bonus in race number 4. And again, because of scratches, we don't go out that far. But all of the speed, no Buffalo Girls on the outside, Charles. They're all on the inside. As plagiarist, Charles picks my picks identically.
Why did you go in there and steal all my picks? That's my number one question. I think we all know why. Everybody out there watching the show knows why you have to copy me. Okay, anyway.
Did you have a pick for yesterday?
Okay. Anyway, the 1 and the 2, look at that. I mean, both have 31% chance of getting that lead. I actually think the same thing. It was like I could not make up my mind who was really going to get the lead. The 3 could even push them along pretty good. So it's really who breaks out the gate first, who's got that first great step. Simulation odds. The 2 has just slightly over, even money, and you got 2.5 to 1 morning line, and then you have the 5 at 4 to 1. You have the 12 to 1 morning line, which is pretty nice overlay.
Thank you, Janet. I appreciate that. But the only person ever said they like something I said. You see Charles over here always trying to actually make me blush a little bit, which is hard to do. All right, I am looking at the pace set up for race number 4. You got this tag team here. The 1A get out to the front. The 1 can be the pressure type or closer type. So can let the 1 do its work if the race goes too slow. Maybe that one's out there, Charles, to be the rabbit to chase down for the 1. And sometimes you have to read trainer intent with that. Looking at the early speed, pretty tight up there, Charles. A bunch of them want to get towards the front. This race will probably be won by a horse that has the most stamina late. You got 3 of them there, the 1, the 2, and the 5. And then as far as the total pace is concerned, that 1 horse, how's your cash flow, Charles? Well, let's see how it is at the end of this race day today. That one's 5 points ahead of Jolly Miss Jill. That it tells me that should win by about a length if everything works out like the pace figures say they will. And we both think that's kind of how it is going to play out.
Yeah, well, since you copied me, we'll just go down the list of how we like it.
Well, whose picks were in the system first today? Be honest, Charles. Otherwise, you got to go to church.
It would be the first time in weeks that you're.
But yeah, we're not talking about
first. Okay. But it was the first time in weeks.
But how can I copy you if I'm in first? So it just goes to show you, folks, who
so
the
that just goes to show you all the other times you did. Okay.
All right.
So, God, I swear to God. 1 has speed. The 1 has speed today. 1 last time out. here we go again. Another 5-pound allowance here. This kid gets some good hot horses here today, so I expect to see him do well.
Well, speed and weight break, I find, and you should. I mean, as a trainer, you probably agree. Speed and weight break is a great combination.
It is. It's just the rider still has to know what they're doing a little bit, But he has been doing very well, actually, overall. Especially because look who he rides against,
Mm-hmm.
He rides against Johnny V, Ortiz, the Ortiz brothers. I mean,
it's the New York circuit.
Yeah, he's not the easiest of company, but that's really good. That's actually good for him too,
Right,
so,
and that's where all the Eclipse winners come from. They come from
exactly. So I'm not getting down on him. I'm just saying, he should do very well today with the horses he has. They look live, definitely. Third start after a layoff, and Rudy Rodriguez gets 16% with that angle. The two also has speed, as we talked about. One last time out. Trainer gets 24% first after the claim, gets Kendrick. So we know how Kendrick is with speed horses. And the 3-1 last time out. Here's another one that has some tactical speed. I personally think this one will be sitting third or fourth. And let's see what it does there at the end. But the trainer, here's the big thing about this horse, the 3. The trainer gets 20% when he moves them up 2 or more levels. So that's a great stat there. And then the 5 ran even last time out. Trainer gets 25% second after the claim and will be closing.
And see, my comment was, "Will be closing on the 5 horse." Now we know who the copier is. How's your cash flow? The 1 horse did run the best speed figure last out, showed much better early pace through the first half mile, and it's going to make the third start after layoff. Continuation of the good trend. Jolly Miss Jill going to get that rail bonus. Charles, very consistent performer. Doesn't have what do they say? It has a low ceiling and a high floor. It won't let you beat it, but it doesn't really have like a pop to it. But did run some much better fractions last time out. Let's see if that translates to a new level today. Angela's Party Girl, 1-for-1 at Aqueduct. Charles was a smashing wire-to-wire win at today's distance and most likely to be up front today too. So likes to be up front. Chance to make it back-to-back W2Ws. And then finally, 5-horse Diamond Collector. As I mentioned, Charles, it will be closing. It is an overlay with a strong par plus score in there, as well as a top C-zone score. Seen too many of those perform well to overlook that one. How much time we have before the next race, Mr. Charles?
I'm looking right now. 4 minutes.
Yeah, beautiful. I mean, some people don't want to leave me alone today, Mr. Charles. All right, my phone, I hardly ever get phone calls, and today the phone's been ringing off the hook, and every single one of them is like, what do they go, scam likely? Anyway, race 5, no scamming here, Charles. What are we doing?
6.5 furlongs. Claiming price of 14,000. Purse is 28,000. This is for 3-year-olds and upward, which have never won 3 races, or 3-year-olds.
And at 6.5 furlongs for the first time today, what they're going to do is 6 races so far. So really not the biggest data set. Early speed has done well. 2 of those 6 horses went wire to wire. There is a small rail bonus. 2 and 3 play fair. You have a 4 through 7 get a discount. 8 and out also get a little bit of a bonus as well. So in race 5, Charles, looks like you want a little bit of early speed in the 5th race on the 9 race card, the exact one in the middle. Once again, we find a race where a lot of horses have a chance, but one more so than the rest.
Yeah, we have the 8 to 55% chance of getting the lead at the quarter pole. Probably most likely to be true. You do have the 2 that might push that horse along. You got a couple other horses that will show a little bit of speed, but you know what? Good luck trying to pass that 8 horse's nose at the quarter pole. When it comes to simulation odds, we have that 2 at slightly under 2 to 1. We have 6 to 1 morning line, which is a nice little overlay. The 8 at just slightly under 3 to 1, and we have 4.5 to 1 morning line, and then the 9 at 7 to 1. We have 12 to 1 morning line, which is another nice little overlay.
And then none of them so far show like they have the ability to get above par for this level. Just looking at the way the numbers break out, with the C zones in here, maybe the 10 horse might be a good one to put in there from a little bit of a price. Anybody else in here? Maybe the 1 horse looks like fair value in that one, along with a strong C zone score. Race shape might determine who wins this one. Charles, if you can see, it's all kind of tilted to the right a little bit. So that means the horses that are middle forward could have just a tactical advantage in the race. Well, the horses that will be forward, you can see a bunch of them in here, Charles, have a chance to be up in there. So it can be competitive early. Of these early speed horses, which one, Charles, has the most late legs? Looks like Moving Pictures, the 1 horse, has the most late legs. Commerce Comet, that 8 horse that we talked about, going to be in the mix late too, Charles. So might not be able to pass what you can't catch with that one. Total Pace paints a picture of a pretty competitive race, Charles, in here, but 4 of them stand out above the rest. 1, 2, 8, and 9, with the 8 having the most total pace in there by about a half a length over the rest of the field. Trip is going to be important here, Charles. Who gets the best one?
I actually think the 10 will get a perfect trip here. I think this horse, well, the horse won last time out. The Rice gets 31% when she drops them down 2+ levels. So, and the horse does have some tactical speed. So I think the class drop is what really makes this horse stand apart from the rest. The 8, definitely a horse you have to beat. It has speed. Rice gets 23% with first after the claim. So, and plus she gets 19% when she rests them 90+ days. So that's got a really fresh horse here that's going to be out there winging it. Mm-hmm. The 2 has some tactical speed. Ran second last time out. Third start after a layoff. So that horse does have a shot here. And the 11 is my final pick. Ran even last time out. Cuts back in distance today. Kendrick's aboard, which moves that horse up a little bit more. But I'm doing a $5 exacta with my top 2 picks. Ooh. And let's see if we get the Rice exacta in there today.
The Rice exacta. 8 horse Commerce Comet, top pick for me in race number 5. Does, as we saw on the pace chart, some of the best early speed, some of the late speed, and then this horse has dropped off the claim, which is almost a 40% winner for Linda Rice. That's a big number, folks. Tommy Gunn, the 2 horse, better fractions last time out, despite going longer, maybe better in its third start off, a layoff with Terry 2. That's what happens. You put 2 and Very together, you get Terry. 2 very good works together between races. Number 11, what's that? Coffrey, maybe? I don't know. Running at the lowest level of its career, going to return to dirt, has some fast workouts since its last race. And of course, as you mentioned, Kendrick is on. You know Kendrick's going to send, my man, that horse to be forward. And then finally, your top pick, my 4th pick, is Ski Patrol. Ran last time out at Aqueduct for the first time, and it won that race. Another one that's going to drop off the win for trainer Linda Rice. She's won 2 of 4 that way, and that horse has plenty of back class to go find. 2, 8, 11, over to 2, 8, over to 2, 8, 10, 11, and 12 for me in my trifecta for race number 5. It looks like they're not too far away from doing race number 2, Charles. So let's rewind our information back to race number 2. And again, remind you that today, if you're going to play in Toronto, the free picks of the day at Guaranteed Tip Sheet can be found in the link down in the description below here on YouTube, as well as on our website over at horseracingtoday.net. And then on all of our social sites, you see them streaming down there below. Horse raced in number 2 day. Horse raced in number 2 day at X. Finally stopped calling it Twitter. TikTok, Threads, Instagram, Facebook, Rumble, or I don't know, Rumble Getter, whatever those other social sites
are.
Yeah,
I was going to say, what is the other one? Rumble and I can't remember the other one.
Yeah, I think Rumble Getter. There's Truth. There's
Truth. Social Truth. It's social.
And there's there was another one in there, Parlor, that got shut down and it came back up. I mean, there's just so many of them out there now. But X is the dominant force as far as like the short form is concerned. What is it? 250 characters or less. And then you have TikTok is the dominant short video one. If you want to put pictures up, that's Instagram. And they're off in race number 2, Mr. Charles. So let's go back to race number 2. And it looks like the horse on the rail, the 1 horse, has taken the lead. And I don't know what happened. My screen just stopped. That's interesting. So you got the 1, and then on the outside, the 7 horse could screw up all of our pick 4s in here, Charles, in race number 2. Although the 1 continues to hold the lead. That's 7 horse, which we thought had a good shot to get into there, Charles, early on. He's on the outside. Going to be tough. The 3 horse trying to split horses in the middle. That's always a tough run right there, right? Splitting horses, Charles?
Yeah, very.
Because you got to be courageous to be the horse to do that. The 1 horse continues to lead the way. The 3 moved up along outside. The 7 horse is hustling along. I think the 7-1 is moving the best of all of them right now, Charles, although the 3 and the 7 are kind of bumping off of each other. Those 3 are probably going to open up the door. It looks like for the who's going to win this damn race? Is the 1 on the outside?
Is that the 8?
Yeah, maybe the 8 horse. I think the 4 horse is going to end up stealing this race, Charles.
8.
No, 8, 4, 7, 3. 8, 4, 7, 3. And
that
of course,
kept on changing his leads. I don't know how many damn times.
Of course, it's the next one up always for me, Charles. I don't know how that works out all the time,
but I'm still alive.
And interestingly, in here, Charles, if you look again, it's for the second race in a row. You had the 8 horse 9-2. Our simulation odds were 2-1. It went off at 4-1. So just from a pure betting standpoint, that horse was a good value. One of 2 horses with a chance to go above par. It did. And then a pretty strong C-zone score in there. So the 8 horse definitely, from our data standpoint, one of the top plays turned out to be the top play. And unfortunately was next on my list, not in my pick 4. So we'll have to try to do better in race number, what are we in, 6 now?
Yeah. Well, at least I'm still alive in my pick 4. And I got that single, that 5, like you did.
Yeah. So when 8, 4, 5, 7, 8, 4, 5, 7. All right, Charles, let's get back on track. Hopefully you can get the next 2. Let's go number 5 in the next leg. But in race 6, what do we got there?
6th race, we have 7 furlongs. Maiden 70,000 for 3-year-olds upward. Fold in the state of New York.
And at 7 furlongs, that tweener distance, they've had a handful of races. Early Speed won most of them. One of the 5 took them from gate to wire. None of them have won from the rail yet. 2 and 3, they're underperformance. So maybe there's a little bit of an anti-bias for the 1, 2, and 3. 4 through 7 get a little bit of a bonus. 8 and out has been the best place to be in the 5 races so far. Kind of seems to be the case in a lot of other races. So maybe the inside of the track's a little deep right now, Charles. Early speed-wise, it does look like the 5 horse is the one to catch.
Yes. When it comes to the quarter pole, we have the 5 that has a 38% chance of getting that lead at the quarter pole. And probably most likely, I don't. Maybe the 6 might challenge him a little bit, in my opinion, but I still think the 5 will have the lead. The 1 for simulation odds, 2-1, 4-1 morning line. The 2 at just slightly over 2-1, and we have 3-1 morning line. And that's all we have when it comes to simulation odds.
And here you have par plus belonging to the 1, the 2, and the 4 in here, Charles, showing they have a chance to go over par, the strongest of which being the 4, but not too far behind with the 1. 4 also grades out pretty well there, Charles, with the C-zone score. So look out for that 4. A pretty similar look to what we just saw with that 8 horse in the last race. Our race shape in the 6th race tells us that the 6 horse is a lone speed type, Charles. Everybody else wants to be middle back. The 5 horse so far has not been within 5 lengths of the leader at the finish line. If that 6 horse can get to the lead, Charles, Loney, everybody's looking for that stuff. 7 furlongs, good chance to go wire to wire. And it is a little bit of about a length faster than that fading 5, a little bit quicker than everybody else in that as well. Our late pace number belongs to the 1, Caldo Candy, a pretty aggressive late pace advantage over the rest of the field too. Probably going to be 4 or 5 lengths off the leader if its prior races are any indication. Going to have a lot of work to do at the end. In the end, it does look like the 6 horse Fortune's Nephew, 1 length better, according to pace, than Berry Funny, who's about a length better than Shirzandu. And they're kind of tight after that, Charles. So 6-2, that might be your exacta, Charles.
I don't know about the 6. 6, well, it does have a shot, but I think the 2 ran third last time out and the second start after a layoff. and Trainer Donk gets 13% with that ankle. So that makes that horse really playable here. Plus, this horse was well bet last time. You got Franco aboard. Very, very tough here. The 4 is my second choice, cuts back in distance. You have some tactical speed here with this horse. This horse's second start after a layoff, and Todd gets 25% with that angle. And guess who Todd has aboard is Irad. And then that 1 horse, which is the interesting horse to me in this race, ran third last time out. Guess what? First time gelding. Got some solid workout patterns.
Aren't you glad like that didn't happen to us, like as high school athletes?
Well,
you're not running fast enough in your 40-yard dash, Rich. Come over here.
Can you imagine now? Me and you've seen this a million times already. Horses win and then they get cut. Well, this horse, first time it ever raced ever, ran third, which is actually a very good move. And he gets cut. Well, that's the way it is. Bred for this. This horse is totally bred for this, but he won't be breeding. And that 6 is my final choice here. Does have some speed. Ran second last time out and has Kendrick aboard. So, but I'm going to go with an exacta here. My top 2 picks, my 2 and the 4.
I'm going to start with that horse with the +5 total pace overlay. Fortune's Nephew. Any of its races so far are good enough to win here. Been off since December, so it's been off for a while. But, man, when you look at those workouts underneath, they're just blistering good. That horse should come out, get to the lead, and never give it up. At least that's the way I see it. Number 1, Caldo Candy, just in case the 6 does give up the lead in there. Just needs to improve off of its debut, although this one's been off the sidelines for a little bit too since April, and the workouts are not as impressive as the 6 horses. Clever Forever, the 4 horse, either of his 2 dirt races would be more than good enough to win here, especially if it can repeat its most recent dirt run. Easy win if he can follow up that August race at Saratoga. And then Very Funny was a tough call for me, Charles, literally over that 3 horse there. But this horse was much better early on in its last race. Got some room for the upside in its 3rd career race, whereas that 3 horse in there has had about 20 chances to win. It hasn't found the winner's circle as of yet. Pick 4, I'm going to leave your top pick out, Charles. Probably going to regret that, I would say, pretty highly, because you got that in yours. And we just saw that the 4th pick screwed up my other pick 4. That's how it always works. But I'm a glutton for punishment. 1, 4, 6 over the 4, 5, 9, 10, over the 6, 7, 8, over the 5, 9, 10, and 11, as I allotted almost all of my budget, because I do think you're going to get some shots in the back end of this card, Charles. Hoping to hit a couple of them and maybe end up the week on a fat pick 4. Race 7, maybe we can find some prices there, Charles. We definitely know what they're going to run on.
Yeah, race 7, it's a mile and 16th on the outer turf. Allowance of 75,000, non-winners of 1. And this is for 3-year-olds and upward, which were foaled in the state of New York and that have never won 18,000 other than maiden, claiming, or starter, or which have never won 2 races. Never won 2 races. Excuse me. That's it.
A mile and a 16th on the outer turf, my friend. It does favor, only 4 horses so far. You had Stalkers win most of them. One of them went wire to wire. So far, the Rail won one of them. Post 2 and 3 got a win. Post 4 through 7 got the other 2. So, only 4 races. In the data world, not enough to really hang your hat on, Charles. From the data we do have, boy, it sure looks like one of them is going to get out to the lead, and you better be fast if you're going to catch that guy.
Yeah, the 5, 80% getting the lead at the quarter pole. Look out. Yeah, that horse is going to be winging it big time. But, you do have a couple other speed horses out there. I think that would keep him in check. Probably the 9 will keep him in check pretty good. But he'll be winging. The question is, can he hang on? Simulation odds, we have the 9 at 3-1. We have 5-1 morning line. We have that's it. That's all we have. Oh, no, excuse me. I'm sorry. 11 at 10-1, and we have a 20-1 morning line.
And then as far as our par plus, look what we got here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 horses that have the history that says, hey, they can get above par level for this number. And a couple of them have some nice C-zone scores in there as well. They should be comfortable. They should be forwardly placed in some cases, and they have a good chance to run a number that would normally win here. In race number 7, Charles, everything tilts to the back. So the 5 might not be the best horse in this race. Hell, it might be the worst horse in this race, Charles. But you have to give it consideration when everybody wants to be middle or back, especially if the early speed is in its favor again. We saw it has an 88% chance to get the lead. According to pace figures, it has a 7-point lead over the next closest horse, about 1.5 points. It's on the inside, and if you look at all the inside horses, kind of slow. The 5 should clear pretty easy. Should be up on that lead, Charles, as a lone E. Big price on that one. Late speed wise, left them behind. A little bit of dyslexia from me there. And B of Courage, well in front of the rest. So those 2 will be charging the hardest at the end. Looking at the total pace, look at that 5 horse, Charles. It's a bomb. It's a lone E. It is the top total pace horse. I think it's 20-1 morning line. Can it win at 20-1?
I don't know. I have a concerning I'm concerned, I should say, that it's going to stop personally. I like the 1 and 1 last time out. I think this horse has the tactical speed to sit very close to that horse. Rice gets 20% with 46 plus days of rest, and Jose Ortiz is aboard. That combo, Rice and Ortiz, unbelievable. The 9, my second choice here. Another one with tactical speed, but this horse is bred for this. Cox gets 22% with 46 plus days of work. And Rosario's only mount today is aboard. So take that for what it's worth. The 10 is my third choice. Ran second the last 2 times. Does like this distance. Castellano's aboard. And then that 7 is my final pick in this race. Ran third last time out. Drops in class today. Will be closing. So probably finish up some of the exotics. But I'm going with my top 2 picks as an exacta box.
Yeah, I'm all out of money and out of hope. It feels like self-destruction. But I like the 9 horse in here, Charles. Rocket and Roll. Going to move the grass for the first time. It should be no problem. Mama made 3 turf winners, so the breeding is there. Number 10, Lord Flintshire. Sounds like a character in Shrek. Maybe it is. I don't know. Better early fractions in its last race. And in the last 4 races, I think no more than like 3/4 of a length of winning from any one of those 4. Courageous. Ooh la. There's that lone E horse, Charles, in there. Too much of an early pace advantage. Has that top total pace in there. Going to be the pace setter. They could get away with some easy fractions. Maybe run that opening half in 49 or 50 seconds on the lead. I think if it runs 50, they ain't catching it. Shin Sun, the 4 horse. I had to be careful with that. If I had some there, I could have really.
I thought you were going to say it anyway.
I got there, and then I thought about it. But anyway, did run the top. And see, this is what almost got me, too, because my first note, it says Shin Sun, and then the next word starts with the letter T. So anyway, that one did run the top last race. Speed figure. Going to be closing at the end of this race, Charles. Very difficult call for me over the 7 horse B of Courage. I'm all out of money. So no more bets for me, but that doesn't mean we don't have any more races. 2 to go. So we're going to start the late daily double in race number 8.
Yeah. Race 8 is 6 furlongs. Optional claimer of 45,000 non-winners of 2. Purse is 80,000 for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. Fold in the state of New York. And let me see, they have never won 18,000 twice, other than maiden claiming starter, or which have never won 3 races, or optional claiming price of $45,000.
Indeed, at 6 furlongs, as we talked about a little bit earlier, tactical speed stalkers. They're the best type of horses to win, although a big chunk, 37, take them from the quarter pole on the lead right into the winner's circle. A bit of a rail penalty for Carbon. 2 and 3 get a bit of a bonus. 4 through 7 get a penalty. 8 and out. Again, that's where all the action has been. Charles, outside speed in race number 8, gets the job done. And there are a couple out there with a little bit of quickness.
Yeah, you got a couple of horses, like 3 horses that could take that lead. We'll start with the 8 at 25% chance of getting that lead, but look out for the 4 and the 2. They both have about the same percent chance, 25%, of getting that lead at the quarter pole. Who gets the breaks to get best, and the 8 being on the outside probably should, if it's smart, probably should just tuck in right behind one of those other two. When it comes to simulation odds, we have the 5 at 7-1, 10-1 morning line, and then the 8 itself even money, and we have 4-1 morning line.
Yeah, and the 7 and the 8 both likely to be forwardly placed, both with a good shot to be run a race of par or better. And look at that 7 horse, really a strong C-zone score. So maybe I should have moved that one up a little bit in my picks. Our race shape for the 8th race, see if we got any clues there. No closers in here, Charles. So everybody wants to be pretty much middle forward, although the 6, 7, and 9, with their versatility, they have the ability to close if this group here decides to go way, way too fast. Speaking of which, the fastest ones early on look like the 4 and the 8, a little bit, about a touch of a step quicker. You mentioned you think the 8 should tuck in. That's probably what it's going to do. Sit right behind maybe the 2, the 7, and the 4, and then try to use some late legs to drive that winner home. Sweetest Princess, Carbon and Temperamental, a bit better than the rest. That's the 5. That's a pressure horse. So that one should be pretty happy, although it might not be positioned where it wants to be at the start. And then late speed, total speed, early speed, Majestic Return, a couple of points better than Carbon, a couple of points better than Temperamental, and then a little bit of a kind of clogged up after that a bit, Charles. So I think this is a pretty competitive race, pace-wise, shape-wise, and somehow we both ended up with the 8 horse on top.
Yeah, well, I think it has the best combination of speed. It's tactical, it can rate, So I think, like we said just a second ago, I'm hoping that this horse will tuck in and sit second or third, real close to the leaders. This horse won last time out. Kendrick stays on, so Kendrick will make sure he's forwardly placed, though. The 7 is another horse that has some tactical speed, like you mentioned too. Cuts back in distance today, ran third last time out, well bet last time out also. So, let's see what that horse could do. The 2, in my opinion, is probably most likely going to get the lead. Trainer gets 17% with 46 plus days of rest. So the horse likes to go to the front and is fresh. So look out. And the trainer also gets 10% when he switches them from turf to dirt. The 6 is my final choice here. Won last time out. Most likely would be closing, and Irad's aboard. But I'm going to go with my top 2 picks, Exacta Box, and let's see how that works out.
I like the 8 horse too, Charles. Top pick. A lot of stuff going on there. It has the best chance to run a par or better. Has a good shot to be on the lead or be right where it wants to be. And then when you look, if it's second or third, the horse tends to make bold mid moves coming out of that turn. That's exactly what you want to see. Temperamental, the 6 horse, plenty of speed to chase in this race here, Charles, as we saw. Upped her speed figure in the last 2 races and was better across the board with all of its race internals. Time the Conquest to 7. Any of its first 2 races, Charles, would be good enough to win this race. And then finally, Carbon, wire to wire in its last race at 1 mile. Cut back to 6 furlongs at a price could be the key to the back end of your exactas, trifectas, or superfectas to fatten out that payout. Last race of this day, last race of this week, Charles. Race number 9. You're going to go back to the grass.
Yeah, 1 1/8 turf. But this is for maidens. 85,000 is the purse. This is for 3-year-olds and upward. Pretty doggone simple.
Really easy. And 1 mile and 1/8 on the turf. They didn't run too many of them so far. A dozen of them, so enough perhaps. One of them went wire to wire, but the rest of them were primarily stalkers. Very strong rail bias for scat to tap. Although 20-1 odds suggest that David Aragona doesn't think he's got much of backing from the bettors today. 2 and 3, a little bit of a bonus as well. 4 and out, they play under par. So if you can find an inside 3 horse, Charles, that you like, has some stalking ability, could find yourself a winner in there, Charles. And another race where a lot of them have a chance to get to the front.
A lot of them do. The 5 has a 42% chance. That's who I think is going to have the lead at the quarter pole. But you know what? I wouldn't be totally shocked to see the 2 out there at 31%. And there's a couple other horses in there that could push them along. But I think the 5 will be out there at the quarter pole. When it comes to simulation odds, we have the 8. Look at that. 3-1 and 10-1 morning line. Not too bad. And here's the big one. Number 10, 2-1 and 10-1 morning line. Now there's the overlay of the day, I think, right?
Yeah, what's going on with that guy?
Yeah. So
and not only that, but Charles, the only one with a small chance, but a chance
small. Yeah.
to run above par for this level. I mean, the pace number there for the C zone says that the horse could be a little bit uncomfortable. Maybe they run a little bit quicker than it would like. C zone wise, the 1 and the 8 real big, and then the 7 not too far behind in that. Race shape here in the final race of the day. The 2 and the 3, they haven't been within 5 lengths of the leader at the finish line. 157 early speed, 812. So kind of balanced with all of the rest in there, Charles. Maybe a little bit of advantage to the horses that'll be middle forward. Pool Hole, the 2 horse that, looks like can get out front, but then just folds probably around the half-mile marker. The other speed horses are kind of right in there. Look at that, Charles. Almost all of them, minus that 2 horse, really close to one another. So should be really tight in the middle of the field here. So trip will be hugely important. You don't want to get blocked in. The 11 horse has the most late speed. It's going to be in the back of the pack, so should get a pretty clear trip in there. There's that 10 horse, Charles. Should be in the mix early. Does have some late speed, but what's interesting about it, not only having the big overlay, it's 4 points clear of the next horses on top total pace. About 3/4 of a length of a winner, if that is the case, at 20-1. Probably doesn't go off at 20-1, Charles. But anyway, what do you see happening?
It's a tough race. But I'm going to lean towards the 5, and here's my reasons why. I think this horse can go to lead and go wire to wire, can sit second, probably behind the 2 most likely, and take over probably at the half-mile pole, like you mentioned a little bit about the 2 stopping right around then. It ran 3rd last time out. Weaver has been hot trainer last 14 days, extremely hot. Johnny V, only race for today for Johnny V, should be on that horse, should be at least sitting at least forward to have a shot there. So the 11 horse is my second choice here. This horse ran 3rd last time out, 2nd start after a layoff. Todd gets 25% with that angle. This horse will be closing. And then the 8 is my 3rd choice. Ran 3rd last 2 times, cuts back in distance. And this is another Todd's horse. Todd Pletcher gets 20% with 46 plus days of rest. And then there's that 10. Just the 10 sometimes just doesn't put it all together every time. Ran 3rd last time, ran even last time. Trainer gets 23% with 90 plus days. Super fresh horse here. My question is, maybe does he now need a race because of it's more than 90 days? I don't know. The way this horse pattern is, it's all over the place, but it does have a shot. And I'm going ice cold 5 on top of the 11, and then I'm going to do another ice cold 5 on top of the 8.
And I'm confused, Charles. Perhaps you can help me. How can you have 2 ice colds?
Well,
I mean, ice cold tells me that ice.
I like the 5 on top. So who I don't like second is I would like to have more money and put even the 10 as another one too.
So you had $7. Why didn't you just do a $3 exact, the 5 over the 8 and 11? Because if you have 2, you can't be ice cold. I mean, it has to be something else. Anyway, I like the 11 horse in here as my top choice in there, Charles. War Officer, going to be close and likely it's going to close against this field, Well, be close too at the end and likely be better in the 2nd start after a layoff. Number 9, Take Me to Jimmy, wherever he is. This guy's been off for more than a year, Charles, and in both of his races, he was the favorite, heavy favorite in some cases, one of them anyway. Keep an eye on the odds. If the money backs that horse particularly early, you'll know that the horse is training well at the track and maybe back to that high expectations that it had early in its career. One bite, there's that bomb, Charles. 20-1, only par plus horse, top total pace horse, overlay. What the hell? I think you have to take a shot, right? And then number 5, Heart and Soul, your top horse, ran a Z pattern last time. I always talk about those Z patterns. So we have a second here before the next race. So let's show it in here. You see, ran at 83. Then it's, I kind of goofed that up a little bit so you can't see that, but let's do this. Yeah, let's try to erase it. There we go. Ran an 83. Boom. Then 79. And then 84. So there's your Z, right? So it went ding, down, and then back up. So probably more of a V pattern, I would show. Also held its speed a little bit longer in there too, Charles. And a chance to do better in its second start after a layoff, although the only other time the horse had a 2 race, it kind of ran the same race the next time around.
And you should show the 10 here, since we're really kind of confused. Basically on this 10, why I'm saying that I can't get a reading on this horse is, it seems like it always runs even.
Mm-hmm.
Always.
Yeah,
and
pretty
much. They tried blinkers the last 3 times. They tried LASIX the last time, and everything's still even. Everything is still all the time, no matter what they do with this horse. Now they're trying turf for the first time. Is that going to be the trick? I would say that would be a good angle, but now we got 90 days or more actually rest. So
something tells me they've been running the horse somewhere on the grass. They have to have some sense that there's a reason why they're making, unless it's just the proverbial throw something against the, throw some spaghetti against
why
the
they're doing it from the grass is because the dam's probably thrown 4 turf winners, and McCracken is out of a go.
You mentioned that. Right here's your dam number: 7 winners from 12 starters, and 4 of them were turf winners.
And the sire is out of a Ghost Sapper, and Ghost Sapper does pretty good with turf. So, I mean, yeah, they're throwing the dice again for the 5th time or 6th time. So
yeah, the horse is making its 6th start. Yeah, so they're. Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's run evenly. It hasn't really run. I mean, minus the first.
It hasn't run bad.
No, these races were here, from a speed figure standpoint, 79, 72, 82. And if you look at par for this level, it's 86. So it has a little bit of ground to make up in order to make that, to get there. But as we saw on our par plus for that race, really none of them have shown the ability to do it. And then just off its general standard deviation, it does in its normal distribution of its potential outcomes. 10% of the time, that number would be higher. Everybody else
I think that's why your charts are showing the way they are, because he does on paper. He looks like he should do something, but to me, and probably to you, because you've picked him 3rd, it's why is he always finishing the same spot, 3rd, almost every time? It's like.
For me, Charles, to be honest with you, at 20-1, with all of those things lining up in there as potential outcomes. I mean, in a race that's wide open, I feel like you have to take the shot, right?
I agree.
You'll regret it if you don't. And the numbers, I mean, we just saw in this second race with the 8 horse, right? All of the numbers lined up. The bettors didn't back it. What was the 8 horse? Like the 4th choice in an 8th horse field. So kind of lukewarm on that guy, and just made kind of, wasn't easy work, but certainly won the race convincingly.
I agree.
All right, so they're all lining up for race number 3. And then after this race, you and I will be out of here for this week. Next week, of course, I'll be back on Monday and Tuesday with Terry that's what happens when you put 2 and Very together. You get Terry. And then we'll do Parks Wednesday. Charles and I will return for Churchill Downs probably the day before Thanksgiving. And I doubt we'll do anything on Thanksgiving. So next week will be a short week for sure. Kind of early Thanksgiving this year. All right, race number 3, they're out and they are running. And as we mentioned, a lot of them we thought had a chance to be forward, and pretty much most of the field is within a couple of lengths of each other at the moment. The 5 horse Money Grab is your leader. You have behind it the 6 horse Scarlet's Dream right there too. Had a little bit of chance to get the lead. The 1 horse on the rail, another one that should be up there, Miss Bourbon. And then to their outside, it looks like you have the 7 horse, HM's Victory. I have a big speaker with a line through it on my screen. So right now they come around the turn. I don't really, it looks to me like the 4 horse. No, it goes 5 and 6 right now, Charles, is how it looks like it's running. The 1 is on the rail. The 7 is kind of fading a little bit. The 8 is making a move on the outside. The 2 on the rail is being really aggressive on the way up. So it looks like the 2 horse is probably moving the best of the horses in the back. 5 and the 6 continue to compete. It does look like the 6 horse might get the better of the 5 horse here as they come down the stretch. The 2 are duking it out. From a trifecta standpoint, you want the 6 to get by. The 5 is kind of tossing its head a little bit like screw you as he runs down to the rail there. Jockey got that one to switch leads, right, Charles?
That's easy.
And then once he did, easy peasy for that one.
Yeah.
You have 5 as your winner, your single over the 6, and then the 8. There you go. 5.
So I'm
6,
alive on
and 8.
I'm alive on my pick 5, and I just started off my pick 4.
Yeah, and to that 5 right there, Charles, for the pick 3, you were at $21. So considering the odds on that first horse winning at 3-5,
Yeah,
and the 5 horse here at 4-5 to be at $21 even, because of that 8 horse in the middle is pretty good. So I would expect that if you do clear it out on the next 2 races, you'll probably be in the $150 to $250 range, notwithstanding some longer shots hitting.
well, I agree with you on that. Yes, but I think with what I have picked, it should be somewhere between there, like you said.
You know, if you have $100 budget and you hit one ticket that gives you all of your money back and a 50 to 100% profit, you know what they call that? Where I come from, Charles?
Easy money? No. What?
A great day at the track.
That's true.
Right? Anytime you walk off the track with more money in your pocket than you started with, that's a great day, my friend. It's been a great week, of course. I don't know if Tom and I are doing anything tomorrow. I haven't heard from him yet. So if I do hear from him, you'll know about it on our social sites. You see them scrolling down there below. Let me put all of our picks up for the rest of the day real quick so you can screenshot that. There you go, folks. Of course, it's been a pleasure. We appreciate everybody spending your time with us this week. No matter what it is you're doing for the rest of this week, this weekend. I know the weather's supposed to break up here in the north and get cold-ish, especially next week around Thanksgiving. But whatever you're doing, getting prepared for the holidays, traveling, if you're going to travel on the weekend to visit family, please do so safely. And then we certainly hope that you have all of God's grace, all of God's favor, and everything that you do between now and the time we get back together again ends up in
the winner's circle. Indeed.
Thanks for joining us on this Trifecta Trent Thursday that hopefully ends up terrific for you.